Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Midweek at Maine. Thanks for joining us for this last Sunday's Easter service and also our Good Friday service on Friday night. I really do hope that over this last weekend you were able to kind of piece together the challenges and the weight and the extraordinary grace, but also sorrow that comes with what happened on Good Friday, but then coupling that together with the resurrection on Sunday, and then thinking that whole story through for our lives right here, the 21st century, our kids, our grandkids, growing up in this culture that we're in right now, and asking God, how do we follow Jesus, and how do we experience the full measure of the filling of the Holy Spirit in our daily living, so that we can experience and also like tangibly enjoy the walking with God life. And how do we grow better in doing those things? And the Bible is filled with many different things of instruction and concepts and ideas that are gifted to us to know how to put God at a better space, if you will, in our hearts and in our minds. And this last Sunday, one of the things that I just wanted to center our time on as we finished our gathering together is to rightly orient our mind and our heart kind of together, connected. It's been a big theme over the last 2 years here to have an honest conversation about moving 18 inches from the knowledge we have about God and church and Jesus in our heads, and actually making the journey of getting it into our hearts to where it affects our whole life, and our experiences are filtered through the gospel. And so there's this quote from a book. A lady by the name of Fleming Rutledge wrote a book on the crucifixion and the resurrection. And I shared this quote on Sunday. She said, perhaps the strongest statement we can make about the resurrection and the crucifixion is that if Jesus had not been raised from the dead, we would have never heard of him. The thing is, there's how many videos right now that you can go online and find of people giving just really simple advice on how to lose weight, how to get in shape, how to keep your hair, how to raise your kids, how to live, whatever. And there's advice flowing anywhere. And what you know is you recognize over time there's no silver bullet, right? You might improve something here or there, but all of a sudden this other area flares up and your stress is still here and your anxiety is still here and your frustration's still here. And some of you just become bitter and you become angry and hard-hearted and you stop loving, you stop being generous. Others of you might find yourself just desperate to cling on to these things. Your identity gets wrapped up in the success and the experiences you find. And then those things don't hold on the way that you thought that they ought. And then you yourself kind of collapse. You give up. You find hopelessness as a normal narrative to your life. This is not what God saved us for. This is not the flourishing, abundant life that Jesus brings to us. So what's missing? I think it centers on remembering first what Jesus told us to do. If he was in fact raised from the dead, and he says to follow him, then that means all of the commands of the New Testament, picking up your cross daily. Here's how this ends up for us this week. It's Wednesday. Easter was this last Sunday. We had a warm, really encouraging gathering on Sunday morning. But you get into the rest of the week and you start to go on with the rest of the post-spring break if you've got kids in school, and you get on into the pre-summer, and all of a sudden you, like the rest of us, you practice what you've always practiced, and you do maybe poorly to practice something new. So let me encourage you, if it's at all possible today, picking up your cross at its very basic function means thinking not of yourself really at all. Can you decide today to still trust Jesus with the whole of your life? So your experiences might be pretty tough or pretty gravy, and maybe somewhere in between, and maybe they change day to day, but are you still the same growing follower of Jesus, centering your life not on what it is you need to get out of life, but instead emptying yourself and not worrying about you? I'm not saying go get walked on like a doormat and be abused and verbally abused and harmed by other people. I'm not suggesting that, but I am saying Do whatever Jesus tells you to do and confirm those things with other believers. To know how Jesus is leading you this day in this life to be an ambassador for him. And that's hard to do when you're still working so hard to be an ambassador for yourself. We have to trust ourselves to this Jesus who is raised from the dead and has promised that one day, as Revelation 21 says, as the new heaven and the new earth appear and the future is upon us, he will wipe away every tear from our eyes, and death will be no more. Neither will there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. We finished our service on Sunday reading that because the things we fear the most in this life are going to go away. It's been promised. So we don't have to dodge them. We have to stand firm in the grace of God, remembering what we've been given, and let that ring louder in your heart than the other things you're experiencing and working through in the day-to-day living. Yes, this life can be hard. Reach out to other people in your church family and invite them to sit with you and share with them, here's what I see. Maybe not asking you for advice, but will you pray with me and can you encourage me? Can you look at my life and can you encourage me to remember Jesus and what he's given me? And can you help me figure out how to trust that better than this bad news at work or this situation with this person or this past that I can't seem to shake? Can you, as a brother, lift me up and bear these things with me? Encourage one another. So Church at Maine, we're going to gather together this Sunday again, and we're going to press into the therefore life that waits. Therefore, because of all that we have, this is what going forward looks like together. I'll see you at 10 o'clock this Sunday right here at Church at Maine.